Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
And it feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light, when you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Sorry. Any issue you'd like to explore, or part of yourself you'd like to change your relationship with?
I'd say it's safe to say that there's been a shift even in the last week or so in this because of outside circumstances, but it's been in ways welcomed because it's putting that shift towards whatever it takes to build on some self-reliance and some self-trust. And whether it's getting to know parts to help to do that or just taking some risks in order to do that. Because I've found out that it'll be a long time before I trust anybody in leadership for a while. That's for sure. So I'm not going to allow anybody to have that over me. I have circumstances where I feel I have to stay in that for a little while longer, but the goal is to distance myself as soon as possible. And to build some things of my own because I've been taken advantage of and been lied to and manipulated emotionally and professionally. And so, yeah, I definitely feel that while it was hard to be put in that position, it was also freeing. So I'm not sure exactly where to explore that with the parts, but I feel, let me just use that to remind myself that I feel like I'm learning a lesson that was going to repeat until I learned it. So I feel kind of fortunate to learn it now.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can, you don't have to start with here's the parts necessarily. You could talk about really anything that's been up for you, or, I do have some notes about our last conversation and different parts that we talked to then that we could kind of go back to, since we only really do one at a time.
Right.
We could look at that too.
Yeah. It's a long-standing want, I suppose, to build that self-trust. So And I know that has to do with, there's some parts work there with learning that we can be okay, given circumstances, that it's okay to speak out and to speak truth, that, others may be able to hurt us in certain ways, but that we're better off if we stand for what's right and just make choices based on knowing where morally and ethically my compass is, and where if I don't align with others, then that's something that I think has been there for a long time. Needing something outside of self to grab a hold of, so that I didn't have to trust in myself for that kind of providing for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be a part of something means that whatever parts don't trust, or that say, maybe we can't, what if we can't, kind of a thing, or not feeling worthy or good enough, to kind of allow some of that to be external. And I think that's a point where, I would really like to see that shift and not feel that kind of a hesitance to just say, no, screw it, let's dive in and let's do something that benefits the whole of us, and not others, because it's typically been a pattern of being taken advantage of.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you have a part that wants or has wanted to kind of go along with others, even when it's been against some type of moral case that you have. And now that you're shifting that, you're still in the process of shifting that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's been recognized several years ago, the patterns, because I ended up in a marriage relationship that's now no longer. But at the time, realizing how it's the covert passive aggressive stuff that's sprinkled in with the breadcrumbs of the good, that's incessant, and that does a lot of damage. And while other relationships, including professional ones, have I'm willing to take risks and stay open to taking risks, but then I'm finding out that people are just better at wearing their masks, and it's very similar to that type of abuse. So I want to be able to learn to be open and to build relationships and take chances professionally and personally. But I being in a situation, recognizing that again with somebody who was really good at it for a very long time, and that I allowed myself to get, more dependent on that source of income than from creating my own. That's only reliant on myself. That now, when I notice those cracks and I notice the lies, that it's difficult to not completely difficult. It would be very easy to just walk away. But there's that element of, well, I need to spend time then doing some of that growth, doing some of that building of things for my own, in order to make up for that reliance I had put on the system that I'd become a part of. So it's not that I allowed myself to be in those positions. It's that I didn't see it soon enough. And now I need to make decisions, and those decisions are difficult because it also affects the food that I put on my own table for myself and my kids. So
yeah.
It's a repeat of past patterns, but it's a need and want for community and for connection. And it's a learning process, I suppose, of requiring maybe some equity of how that looks on all sides, being transparent. I've managed to try to remain transparent, but then I've seen it not be the same as time has gone on, and now I know why.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be a part of you that, it wants to. Part of you wants to be open, and part of you wants to be protected from the others. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a balancing.
And a part, possibly the same parts, who knows, but a part that wants to be able to continue to develop the self-confidence to not necessarily need, at least in that way, professionally, to need others to provide for self and family.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that could certainly be a goal of a part to get to know better and try to work with. I mean, you've named a lot, so I don't want to tell you what we should work on, but that does sound like a recurring kind of underlying.
Learning to trust self, I would say, is definitely, having a confidence in creativity and in imagination and in growing something that can be provide some self-sufficiency.
Okay.
Yeah. So overall confidence. Yeah.
So, would that be a part? I mean, would you like to try to look at that part, the learning to trust self part, and see
Yeah.
what part it is of yours that isn't trusting, and how you can work on that trust?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So when that part is doing its thing, doing its not trusting thing, what does that feel like? Where in or around the body do you sense that?
Mm. You don't really have a.
Or when that comes up, that feeling of distrust, what is that? What are you saying to yourself? Is there a message that you hear, or could be anything? How does it feel when you're in that place of not trusting?
I identify it with just a shutting down. So I starting to come to a place of not of noticing it in my prefrontal cortex and noticing it in not being able to be creative, shutting down the ability to just kind of focus attention and ideas and motivation, and it's just a numbing and shutting down of the mind that resides in the head.
Okay. And as you notice it in that sensation in the head, how do you feel towards it?
I don't know. I maybe angry.
Mm-hmm.
Because it keeps so much from being possible historically.
Yeah. Okay. See if you can ask the part that gets angry if it would be willing to relax and give us some space so that we can talk to the shutting down, numbing part. Just see how it reacts to that.
Yeah, I don't have a clear. I have a clear picture of who's angry, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if it's okay to just not be angry for right now.
Did you get any reaction? Does it feel okay?
There's a lot of, I don't know if it's exactly anger, but there's a lot of feelings there. A lot of trying to just say, can we have compassion for this part that's shut down and not have any judgment or anger or whatever it is right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and those other parts don't have, they don't have to engage with the part that's shutting down. You're just asking for space so that you can have a conversation with the part that's shutting down.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to all become compassionate. We're just looking for space in this conversation so that you can have your own curiosity and you can feel okay getting to know this part.
Yeah, I don't feel resistance to doing that.
Great. And so how are you feeling toward this numbing part now?
know. It's very it's kind of confusing, maybe confused.
Okay. Are you able to turn towards the numbing part and get closer to it, kind of deepen your access to it?
Like maybe it's going. It's not. Like there are other parts or a part that's stepped in. And it's like it's not even that they're they don't even need to be here right now because we're protecting this way. We're not gonna, we're gonna stay sharp and stay aware and let the some of that hurt fuel some action.
Yeah, we're going to learn about it. And if any of them need to jump in because you're at any point, if they're worried you're going to get overwhelmed, they can knock on the door and you can they'll still have a voice. Just let them know that you're here. Just kind of invite them all to relax, soften.
I don't think that they. It doesn't seem like they can do that right now because I still have to play part and play roles, and I don't think that they're willing to step out of the way.
Okay, that's fine. Would it? Is there a particular part that's feeling most, concerned about you doing this work?
It feels like there's a part that, that's it. That says, you know what, this anger is justified. We need to be in this place right now, not to necessarily go. We've always, hidden that or numbed it. We're not going to numb it right now, so this is a good thing. We're not going to shut that down and put it away. That's justified.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good feeling.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, we don't want to kick anybody off the ship here. Nobody's going to get fired. I think the goal is to understand any of these parts. And so when you're feeling, when one of them's taken over and in a way that's, not working for you, that you're able to understand this part so that you can work with it, lead it, negotiate with it, just deepen your communication with it. That's the goal as I understand it. So might just kind of let them know that. And, this angry part might be a great part to get to know better in this conversation. Sometimes that's how it works. One of them has this most concern, and then, okay, it can go first. If that's however you want to.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels right.
Great. So turning towards the angry part, where do you notice that in or around your body?
It's interesting. It feels like it's the same area. I'm feeling that in my mind. It's in my head, yeah.
And how do you feel towards it?
Grateful.
Okay. Let it know that. And let it know that you'd like to get to know it a little better. Just kind of invite it. Are you able to get close to it? Can you see it or sense it, or how close can you get to it?
Yeah, able to kind of sit down next to.
Great. See if you can just ask it what it would like you to know, or what it would like you to know about it. Just wait for the answer.
Lets me know that there's I'd like to have some ability to be heard.
Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Without fear. Yeah, without fear of being retaliated and even just, I suppose it's, just wanting to practice being allowed to express itself.
And how do you feel towards it as you learn that?
Yeah, I agree, but it's still so scary.
Scary to let it express itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so again, our goal is to understand this angry part, and any other reaction that you might have, including being scared, we can think of that as a part as well, and just kind of ask that to step back. Just want to understand what it is that this angry part is going for, and you're not making it any promises. We can agree with it, or have empathy and understanding for it without giving it control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Try asking the angry part what it's afraid will happen if it doesn't get your attention that way, if it doesn't jump in.
I would just shut down again.
Right. So it's protecting you from the part that it didn't want us to talk to, which is the numbing and shutting down part.
Yeah, there's the scared part as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is complex, I guess, that it's either nothing changes or things get worse. That's the feeling. If anger is expressed, either nothing changes or things get worse.
Yeah. Sounds like it has a complicated job.
Yeah.
And it wants to keep you from shutting down. So can you show it some appreciation for keeping you from that state, and show it some sympathy for the difficult job it does, how difficult it is to navigate when it's okay to be angry and when it's not, kind of thing. It's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
How are you feeling towards it now?
and compassion and grateful.
Great.
Realize how frustrating that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you show it all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how does it react to that?
Just, yeah, gestures of, okay, I'm still here. Not going anywhere.
Right. That's fine. We want all your parts to still be there. And how are you able to show that appreciation? Are you maintaining that closeness to it, or what's that like for you?
Able to kind of tell it thank you, but I have a sadness because I realize it's going to probably be this way for a while.
Yeah. In what way are you concerned about it being?
Because it just can't be authentic in the moment. It still has to hide.
When it gets engaged, when it's I don't know the word, when it wants your attention, do you feel that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So you can kind of let it know that you feel it. It doesn't have to hide from you.
Okay.
And your decisions about how you show up out in the external world, that's you taking in information from various parts. But just let it know that you're okay with its anger. You're okay with the way it is. And that you'd like to see it doing what it wants to do. And that's really the next question is, what does it want to be doing? If this job is difficult, it has this difficult job, how else would it like to be using that energy inside of you?
Yeah, towards building, towards creating, towards developing that confidence.
And can you kind of show it a menu, show it some options of what that would look like, or ask it what that would look like? And it might be hard to, you don't have to tell me everything that you're seeing, but to just kind of brainstorm with it. could try asking it how old it thinks you are and just wait for the answer.
There's some sadness there. Doesn't know how old. Just she just knows she's been there a long time.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and just update it on your real age. Again, show it appreciation and sympathy and respect for the length of time it's been doing its job. And just try to show it some hope that it doesn't have to be in that role. If it will keep communicating with you, that you can find different roles for it. It can have that, that creative and building energy that you talked about. How does it react to the age thing?
Sadness.
Mm-hmm. And are you okay with being with that sadness now? Like, how's that for you?
It's not a good. Yeah, it's not a good feeling. It's not a. It's just been. That's been reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing that sadness come up a lot in this conversation, and I'm curious, does it feel like it's coming from that part? Does it feel like it's coming from somewhere else?
Yeah, it's coming from somewhere else, and there's definite words of we don't have a choice. This is just what we have to do. But I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah. Well, I would let that sadness know that you hear it, that you feel it. You know, we did promise the parts if they needed to jump in, they could in this conversation. But you can see that it's hard to do that work with one part when another part is coming in like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. Kind of learning the map of what it's like. You know, you started with looking at a numbing part, and then an angry part came in, and then a sad part came in about that. And if that's what your system is up to, that's okay. We can work with that. We just can work with them one at a time.
Yeah.
Maybe you can send these parts a message again that you can heal parts. Again, if they allow you, if they'll let you get in there and speak with them one at a time, that you know you have the power to communicate with the parts, and you're interested in getting to know them and healing them.
Yeah. That feels really good.
Yeah.
To have that awareness of them all there doing their jobs, but that and recognize them for doing what they've done and keeping us safe, but that we don't have to fix everything right now, but we can take some time to talk with them.
Yeah, I mean, just getting to know what the patterns are and who's who, and you know, that's all necessary work. So
yeah.
and that might be a good part to kind of start with next time, or to, you know, I keep a little list of where I'm going next, usually with my parts, because it happens to me too, where I'm talking to one and another keeps butting in or wanting to take control. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to spend, I'm not, you know, I'm halfway in with one, I'm not going to switch to another, but
right.
And you know, I do it with myself every day, and I'll just talk to that part tomorrow. But yeah, you can get to know that sad part and what the sadness is around working with the angry part.
Yeah.
And just let it know that you have time, you have energy, you know, you're capable of it.
Yeah, it's nice. I do have a bit of a break this week, so I have many things on my to do list, but there's a bit of a break from some things to be able to maybe be able to spend some time.
Yeah. And you might direct your attention either to that sad part or back to the angry part, and just ask what what either of them need from you in the future. I would pick one. But if it's the sad part, it's coming in the most, you can ask it what it would need from you.
Yeah. Trust yourself. Yep.
And you build that trust by getting to know your parts. It's kind of maybe counterintuitive, but you don't ignore the parts because the self is so awesome and trustworthy. You earn the trust, and yourself is made more whole by having that communication with the parts and being able to respond to all of them and understand them. So if they're telling you trust in yourself, I would just say back, okay, and a huge part of that, a necessary part of that, is understanding them. Nobody's going to get left out in the cold.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good feeling all the way around. Yeah.
Are there any other parts that have any concerns about the work you're doing?
Yeah, I think there's a feeling, a sense of not necessarily have a part connected to, but it's having the resources and navigating the chaos and still trying to do the work is something that's a worry.
Yeah. Well, if it's for what it's worth, I find it to be really efficient. The inner work you can do, it's just, you can do in 5 minutes what it might take to do out loud with someone else hours, because you get to decide the environment, you're speaking your language, it's like every shortcut imaginable because you have direct access to your parts. So there may be a lot to do, but I don't know. I don't know a better way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say thanks to all those parts of yours for showing up and letting themselves be known in this conversation. Let them know you'll keep making that effort to come back to them and get to know them better.
Yeah.
of course, I'd be happy to keep working with you. So,
yeah, it felt really good to have that, I just pictured grasping hands and making that agreement internally, which was really neat.
yeah.
So,
yeah, ultimately you're the one doing it. That's the beauty of it.
Thank you again, James. I appreciate that.
I just want to bring it back. I mean, you talked about parts trusting you, and now you're talking about shaking hands and making agreements with them.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely doing it.
Yeah, that brings a smile to my face just to have that reflected too. That yeah, a good awareness to pause or stop on. Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, James.
I hope we get to talk again soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
If you celebrate Thanksgiving, have a wonderful holiday.
Yes. You too.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Zikri, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.